Hello, everyone. If you'd like to support me, like this video, like all my videos, and then subscribe to the channel. Even if you don't like me, subscribe to the channel. Just turn off the notifications and still support me anyway. I'm trying to get my my subscriber count up. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about Republicans. I'm going to give a little history lesson here, because I think the party is in shambles. They just don't know it yet, and they're very, very good at doing this. And this is why nobody likes them. In 2008, George Bush taught me something. See, I'd always been a conservative, and I've always known that I was conservative. I just used to think I was a Republican, even though I never would register as a Republican. I've always been independent. George Bush taught me when he did the bailouts that Republicans and Democrats are the same. There's no difference when it comes to how they will vote and how they will behave with my votes. Now, the Democrat Party is something I will never vote for. I will never vote for any Democrat. I don't care what they say, what they do. Until they leave that party, they are representing evil. They are representing who that party is and how that party's always been. And I just can't. I can't take anyone who thinks that it's smart to be a Democrat. I can't take them seriously until they leave the party. Once they leave the party, we're good. But when you're representing slavery, Jim Crow, anti-civil rights, you need to understand that before you can get my actual votes. I disagree with Tulsi Gabbard on so many things, but at least I see, okay, she realized what that was and left. There's a possibility now that she could get my vote. Doesn't mean I will, but at least she opened the door to letting me know that she is at least a thoughtful enough person to understand that she was anti everything I believe in. Anyway, once the bailouts happened, I realized that was my coming to Jesus moment. That was my, I thought they were conservative. Why are we bailing out the banks, and why are we bailing out Freddie and Fannie, and what are we doing here? What is this? Now, up to that point, I had only voted for McCain, I believe it was. I think it was McCain. Didn't care for him, but at least he pretended that he was conservative. What do I mean by that? These people, and listen, personally, they can do whatever they want. But once you're in the chambers and you're creating laws and you're voting, you need to be adversarial to the people who disagree with you, because I didn't vote for you and your friends. I voted for you. John McCain was friends with all the Democrats. He was less friends with Republicans, which tells me that there's something there that keeps them related, or that keeps them friends. Now, again, outside of work, you can do whatever you want. But if you're at work and you're antithetical to something that the other people are, you should not be friends. You shouldn't be until you're out of the chambers. Then you can go have lunch all you want. Now, that opened my eyes. Then when Barack Obama got in, which we all knew was coming, we all knew who he was, we all knew what he stood for, they just destroyed the Republican Party with all of their tactics. It's like they took a manifesto and just released it onto Republicans, and every trick in the book is what they used, and they got their guy. What really bothered me is when people like McCain and George Bush would cozy up to this guy after he smeared you guys, after he called you guys racist, after he said that you guys wanted to hurt and harm minorities. You're still friends. I find that very odd. But that's where I started actually losing respect for all Republicans, because we did this bailout thing and you told me that these people were too big to fail. never explain exactly why they were too big to fail. You just say, oh, no, we can't have this. Well, we know now that all of the people in Congress, they would have failed if the banks had failed. But anyway, they were too big to fail, so they bailed them out. And Obama decided to pass a stimulus package. And people like me were like, oh, I see what's going on here. They're all in on this together. And it took me a long time to realize that. 2009 is when the Tea Party started. And they were made fun of and called tea baggers and this, that, and the other. But those were true conservatives who just weren't party loyalists. So once the Republican Party got all these Tea Party people, they were like, oh, we just grew our base. No, you didn't. When they talk about waking the sleeping giant and all that stuff, you didn't have us. You're supposed to represent us. And I think that's a big thing that's being missed right now in politics. The black vote for conservatives, not Republicans. Well, you could say Republicans. When black people started voting Republican, and it's been slow, but it's been on the incline since 2008. Since Obama got in, which is very weird because you would think that it would not have increased during that time, but it did. Because true conservatives, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter, they understand a few things. They understand that the parties don't matter. They just need people to represent them, where they're from. And they've known for a fact that Democrats don't represent us. They don't represent black people. Never have. They just said it. So the real awakening was in seeing, oh, the Democrats are lying to me. For black people. I'm speaking for black people, and I'm speaking for Hispanic people. We started realizing that the Democrats are lying and they're not representing us. It had nothing to do with Republicans. Republicans took credit, but they didn't do anything to change that. All they did was just say, hey, personal accountability, personal responsibility, family, tradition, prayer, all the things that most minorities agree with, but they just thought that it was all talk. And to an extent, they were correct. Anyway, John McCain on the campaign trail talks about Obama being a good guy.
He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues.
He just called you racist last week. What do you mean he's a good guy? We realized he didn't have the stomach to bash his friends, regardless of whether or not his friends were bashing him. And we had just seen Bush do that for 2 terms. And he took a beating non-stop, being called an idiot, being called a monkey, they just abused him non-stop, and he smiled and joked. And I thought that was character. I didn't realize that was weakness. So that whole time I'm like, man, this dude he's able to turn the other cheek like legit. The whole time I'm thinking, I really think that it was admirable. Until he got out of office. And then he started to hang out with the Obamas, who had literally called him racist. And it's like, what are you doing? So it went from admirable to weakness like that. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. That's when I started realizing that they're all intertwined. They're all in the same gang, like the old song. The Tea Party movement started because of the absolute waste of money and waste of our taxes. It just wasn't going to stop, and they realized Republicans and Democrats didn't matter. You're going to get a stimulus or you're going to get a bailout. And it started a movement. Obama's midterms, he got slaughtered. So the left or right couldn't figure out, well, why is that? That's weird. He's this monumental president, this huge symbol to minorities and black people. They can do. We're going to end racism. Although it's very interesting because race tensions increased every single year Obama was in office. So it started out on high, and everyone was hopeful, and conservatives were skeptical. We'll see what this guy does. Is he going to really be a uniter? Because he could talk. Oh, he could talk. But for me, that's always a sign of, I need to stay away from this person until I can see what they're really about. Because those smooth talkers will get you. Those salesmen, they'll get you. And sure enough, he got a lot of people. But he kept losing midterm. He lost his first midterm, got slaughtered, and they couldn't figure out why. Then he won re-election. And it's like, this is weird. How did he win again after they just slaughtered in the midterms? Well, that was the Tea Party flexing, saying, hey, we're here, but we don't want Romney. You're not going to pick our candidate for us. So yes, we can show you what we can do in the midterms, but you need to give us our pick. You don't pick my candidate, and I'll stick to that now, today. Mitt Romney was not a good candidate. Mitt Romney was just one of them. He was a friend. They were all friends. They all probably went to lunch on a weekly basis to talk about their campaign strategies, to give it to each other. He got called racist. He got called dog murderer. He got called misogynist. He got called a Bible thumper. Didn't seem to care. I just want to stick to the issues. Dude, they're insulting your wife. They're insulting your family. They're smearing your name. You don't care? Apparently not. Because when he had opportunities to go after Obama during a debate, wouldn't do it. Oh, okay. I see what this is. You're another weak one. You're another George Bush. You're another McCain. I see you. I'm not voting for you. And I didn't vote for him. So now we're in re-election for Obama, heading into the second midterm for Obama. Republicans slaughtered. And it's like, what is going on? The whole time we can see it, and we're communicating. Social media is out there now. I'm not voting for Romney. I will go on my social media and say, hey, don't vote for Democrats. And this is why I believe Romney's a better candidate, because he was. The problem was the man was not the man he was portraying himself to be. So he got whooped. He got whooped pretty good too. In 2014. Woo, that was a good one. That was one to remember. That was one where they realized, oh, Republicans may win in the next 2 years. We got to figure out what's going on. And they never figured it out. They sat there and they smeared the Tea Party from those first Obama midterms all the way through 2016. And they haven't stopped. So we, the Tea Party, true conservatives who don't feel like the Republicans represented us, we chose this crazy dude, billionaire, didn't care about anything, not a bull, not a bear, he's a semi-truck. He's a semi-truck, just runs over everything. And anything that wants to go along will hang on to the side. Anything else, you're gone. He didn't care about anything except for his agenda and his job. And he knew what it was. Whether he agreed with it or not, didn't matter. He would openly, this guy, Donald Trump, talking about Trump, would openly say, I would like to do this, but there's no way my base would allow it. That's how you know you have a politician who's representing you. Even when he disagrees with something, he's going to do what the people voted him in to do. And we saw it. He said it several times. I would do that, but my base would kill me, or my base would they would completely reject that. That is a man of integrity. Whether you think it is or not doesn't matter. Whether you agree with him or not doesn't matter. He knew who brought him to the dance, and he knew he could not just walk away and go dance with somebody else. And he still does that to this day. So we brought him in. We elected him. I said this before. We're not Trump supporters. Trump is representative of us. He said it before. They don't really hate me, they hate you. He's just a way for them to bash us. He knows this. He's fully aware of this. He knows when his base says no, it's time for him to say no. When his base says yes, whether he wants to or not, he's going to say, okay, we have to do this. It's my job. As a leader understands that. So right now, we have Republicans trying to figure out how they lost the midterms. And they're blaming Trump, who's been out of office since 2020. Well, yeah, he's got to say, and he's endorsing these candidates. No one cares about endorsements. No one's ever cared about endorsements. Endorsement is like saying, I like this guy, and I'm going to vote for this guy. No endorsement has ever said you need to vote for this guy. Now, if you do, I would appreciate it. That would be really cool to me if you voted for the guy I'm voting for, because it would help this guy. It has nothing to do with the voters. It has to do with the guy. So when they try to blame him for Oz and I won't put Lake into this because she's got a lawsuit that she should win. But Walker, it's not Trump's fault that these people didn't win. To blame him to me is insane. Now, can he go and try to take credit for it if they win? Yeah, of course. Because that's who he is. That's what he does. But that doesn't mean he had any influence. If he did, there's no way Fetterman would be in office today.
What is wrong with demanding for an easy, safe kind of their income, a path to a safe place for them to win, or excuse me, to work?
It's impossible. You can't tell me Oz was a worse candidate than Fetterman. If you tell me that, I don't believe you're an honest person. Because you can't say, oh, they lost, Trump picked bad candidates. Okay, if that's the case, why did they vote for Fetterman?
So I use the example. So pretend I want to go to Wegmans. It's such the most important race for the Senate here for 22. We have to replace Pat Toomey. Oh, no. Senator Toomey was not very nice to me. Pat Toomey is a miracle. He had a chance to match me up again. Abortion is the ballot now in November.
He's a worse candidate. How do I know that? He's not even a sentient human being.
Please understand the stakes in this race. Send me to Washington, D.C. so I can work with Senator Casey and I can champion the union way of life in in D.C. Thank you very much, and it's an honor. I live 8 minutes away from here, and when I leave tonight, I got 3 miles away, Dr. Oz, in his mansion in New Jersey, you've got a friend and you have an ally. Send me to Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steelworkers.
So you can't say it's about whether the candidate was good or bad. Because look who won. Look who won.
It's fair to wonder whether Fetterman is 100% or whether he's going to make a full recovery from that stroke that he had 3 months ago. He's really been shielded from the media thus far. One of the interviews that he did was with closed captioning. He's done 2 public events. He spoke for about 10 minutes at one of them and 4 minutes at another. So, people rightfully, I think, want to know, how's he doing?
That gets rid of the whole bad versus good candidate nonsense. It's people like me didn't like Oz. It's just that simple. I don't blame Trump. If Trump picked the other person and Oz won, I still wouldn't vote for Oz. So what's happening right now is conservatives are lumping in with Republicans, and Republicans think, oh, since the Tea Party, we grew our base. You didn't. You still have to earn our vote. The candidates themselves have to earn our vote. We don't care about endorsements. So the Republicans get mad when we don't turn out to vote for who they pick for us. Forgetting the fact that you don't pick my candidates. Not even my candidates get to pick my candidates. So I don't care if Trump endorsed, I don't care who he endorses. That doesn't mean I'm going to vote for him. I pick my candidate.